Also einen schönen guten Abend, falls ihr noch live einschaltet, bin ich jetzt live mit und Esther für das geplante Interview und wie angekündigt werde ich dann das Interview auch übersetzen und das dann auch in der Gruppe dann freischalten auf Deutsch, untertitelt. So, ich steige um auf Englisch und dann legen wir gleich los mit dem Interview. Al and Esther. So I have to switch my brain to English. I'm very, very happy you are here. We have one person online watching at the moment, and I'm sure more are gonna come. And yeah, so it's 12 o'clock in lunchtime where you are in the US. Can you just quick situate where you are exactly in America?
Yes, we're in Sacramento, California, on the west coast of the US.
Oh, very nice.
About 90 miles from San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So you have a beautiful weather, I guess. All right.
Not bad.
Oh,
It's about 59, 60.
Oh, in Fahrenheit, so I should work it out in Celsius because here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Degrees, but you you have nice weather, so that's great. We are coming out of the winter, so today it's been really nice and nice to go out, but still with a jacket. So yeah, we have 5 people online watching for the moment, which is great. So I announced in the group that I have you as an interview to show people that it's possible to make the transition, because what I hear from my clients or patients is from 70 or 60, you know, like it's too late, there is nothing we can do, and that's what they hear from their physician as well. So that's why I have you here as a role model, and I'm super, super excited that you're here so you can talk to us about your experience. And I'm also super, super happy, Al, that you're here after your little adventure from last week.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, it was just a cardio conversion, and I had arterial fluttering,
Right.
and that was converted back to a normal sinus rhythm by putting a paddle in my chest and on my back, and then they just shocked me, and I was asleep, of course, when that happened.
Okay.
But it was totally painless, and it's one of the few times I've ever gone to the hospital coming out feeling better than when I went into the hospital. I felt great. I could go upstairs.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't walk 5 feet with that terrible angina.
All right.
So you can convert that to German, but I was in terrible shape. I couldn't do anything. And now I can, no problem.
But all along for the last 7 years, you've done very well.
Oh, yes, yes.
This was just a minor
This is
correction.
just a glitch in the road, yeah. The last 7 years, you can take any 7 years in the last 20 years. I'm 87 years old, and you can take the years since I turned 80 and been on a whole food, plant-based diet, and the last 7 years have been better than any 7 years in the last 20 years.
Wow.
I mean, it's like I found the fountain of youth and took a bath in it. It's been phenomenal. I'm 87. I don't have any aches and pains. I know I do stretching exercises, but I feel I eat a wonderful diet. I love what I eat. It's tasty. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel like I need to eat something. It's just fantastic.
Yeah,
and I mean, I recommend it to anybody over 80. If you're not doing this, you're on the way down.
That's cool. So
So
you started at 80, right, Al?
Yes.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about your life before, because I read all the information on the internet, but my audience doesn't know anything about where you were, what is your history of heart disease, and how did you decide?
Okay. Yes. Good question. I knew I forgot something this morning, and I got it. Let's see. Oh, library. Hang on a second. We will get there. Albums. Yes, good question. My story. Here we go. Okay. At 80 years old, this will take. I've got this time to about 4 or 5 minutes. I was at 80 years old. I was diagnosed with end-stage coronary artery disease. And if that sounds serious, it is serious. I really only had months to live, not years. Now, I was no stranger to heart disease because my father had died at age 59. And so it was a big deal for me to get to 60, but I did. But when I was 48, I had a 5-vessel bypass surgery, which was the most traumatic thing in my life. It felt like they put me in a gunny sack, and all my ex-wives came and beat the daylights out of me. And then they threw me down the stairs, and I thought, I never want to do that again. It's just horrible. So I didn't know what I should do, but I knew I didn't want to do that again. So I decided to give up red meat because I just thought that that was bad for you. And at the time, the standard diet was people were eating 40% of their caloric intake as fat. And so I thought, well, I can do better. I cut that in half, and I said, I'll just do 20. And that worked. And I did that for many, many years until I was like 75, and I had my second heart attack, and they put in a stent. And the stent was like amazing. It's just everything went away. And I thought, if I had happened to me back when in 1984, when I was 48, I thought, wow, I probably wouldn't have changed. But I did, so I thought, wow. Well, and then I was 77, I had I had angina, they put another stent in, and that didn't work, but they gave me a lot of drugs, which doctors love to do. So I said, all right, I'll take the drugs. And I was falling down drunk, I was dizzy, it was horrible, no relief. So they sent me home, and they said, no, this was when I was 80. Nothing had really gotten any better. So they sent me home, and they told me I had end-stage coronary artery disease. And, oh yeah, but I knew I was going to die. I really didn't have any future, but they offered me to go to a rehab where Kaiser, my healthcare provider, said I can come in and they'll teach me things. And I said, all right, it's very motivating. You want to live. I mean, that's sort of number one. You want to live. So my wife takes me, and I could hardly move. I had to take little tiny steps, like 6-inch steps. And the first part of the thing, it's an all-day class. The first half of it was an exercise. When you've had a heart attack, they want you to get your heart up to exercise. And my heart rate, I just want to keep it going, never mind get it to go faster. And I couldn't do any exercise. Well, I was depressed. Now, at the time, you have to understand that I was dizzy, I was falling down. I was basically what they call a cardiac cripple. I couldn't walk, I couldn't climb stairs, I couldn't take out the trash. my kidneys had gone down to 40% of normal, not,
Wow.
not good, 40% of normal. I was constipated. Almost anybody that eats the standard diet is constipated. So I'm just depressed as can be. And so this fat lady comes out and she says, I'm going to tell you about the whole food plant-based diet. And I'm thinking, bury me now. This is over. My life is over. How can this lady help me? Well, she did. She one of the things she presented to me was a slide that Dr. Esselstyn had taken of one of his patients that had an occlusion in the coronary artery. And in 30 months, that occlusion went away. And so I thought, I'm not sure I can live 30 months, but by God, I'm going to give that a try. I mean, to me, that was a lifeline. So, oh my, I lost my script here. So she comes, she's giving me this handout. So she suggests 3 books to read. And anybody listening to this should get all 3 of these books. The first is To Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Esselstyn. That book saved my life, and no bones about it. The next book they recommended, which I bought, was Dr. Michael Greger's book on How Not to Die. I thought there's a fitting title. The first page of his book, he discusses why he got into medicine, because his grandmother, who was 65, to me, 65 is a young chick, like my friend Esther, and they sent her home to the hospital with the same thing. She was in a wheelchair. She got herself to California and went to, I can't remember his name. It went to a clinic that they gave her whole food plant-based. And in 3 weeks, she was walking 10 miles. And so I thought that was encouraging. I wanted to hear that message. Well, it took me 4 weeks because I'm a slow learner, but that's all right. And the last book they recommend, which was good, it spoke to me. It was the China Study by T. Colin Campbell. Now, I used to be, a long time ago in the service, I used to be a scientist, and so I have a scientific background. And so that spoke to me, but it's a hard book to read, I'll admit to that. But also he talks about the science. It isn't just like Esselstyn. Well, Esselstyn did science too, but it wasn't just opinions. It was science, fact-based, which to me was important, because when you're in a bad place in life, when you're vulnerable, when people can prey on you quite easily. So I'm very much a cynic, and so I was worried that someone's going to sell me something that. All right, moving right along. So in 2 months now, just 2 months, I lost 30 pounds. I wasn't trying to lose weight. That was not my goal. I was trying to retain my life. I went from 180 to 150. 7 years later, I'm at 135, and I'm still losing weight and loving it. My cholesterol went from 250 to 150.
Wow.
Currently, it's 115. And my kidneys went from 40% back up to normal. And I have a friend of mine that's a nurse. What do you call it?
Advisors?
No, she's a nurse. She's got her PhD in nursing from a kidney nurse. There's a word for it. I can't think of it right now. And she told me that most people lose kidney functions as they get older. And she says, you gain 27 years of kidney function. She goes around and she gives lectures on whole food plant-based. And she uses me as her example. Bless her heart. Yes. All right. And I could climb stairs. I have tons of energy. I felt my mental acuity was coming back. And my wife has always thought I was an ass. Now she thinks I'm a smart ass. And so, I'm, as I said, I'm 87. I've been living this lifestyle for 6 years, 5 months, 3 weeks, and 28 days. But who's counting? I am, and I am being blessed. So if I can do it at 80 years old, anybody can do it. So that's my story. I hope I didn't take up too much time.
Absolutely not. It was fascinating, really interesting. Thank you, Al, for sharing. Yeah, it's really crazy what you can do when you have the right motivation. And
you have to be motivated.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have many more questions, but I just want to switch to Esther,
Yes.
because Esther, you didn't have the same motivation, right? I read a little bit of your story, and I have also a picture of you on my screen, if it's okay that I share it after you explain your journey. But from what I understood, well, I'll let you maybe explain what your journey was. Because you both look so young. It's crazy. I mean, it's so nice.
I'll get to be 80 in October, so I'm looking forward to that. But when I was 72, we were traveling in Ireland. And at the end of that tour, my knees and feet were hurting so much, I didn't know what to do, because that was in May. And in September, we were planning a trip to China. And I thought, how am I going to make that trip if I'm almost a cripple now? So I didn't think too much about it. I got to the airport, we got home, and a few weeks later, I saw my doctor, and he said that he could offer me knee injections, or he said I could keep taking my pain medication, or he could refer me to orthopedics for a possible knee replacement. Well, I didn't even like those to begin with, but then he added the caveat that you have to lose 70 pounds before I can refer you, and didn't tell me how. So I thought, I didn't know what to do. And, I tell people I believe in divine order. And I have a friend who had been doing some research on how to avoid having diabetes. And in her search, she found Dr. McDougall's book on maximum weight loss. She gave me the book, and I had been on every diet out there. I'd been to Weight Watchers, I'd been to Tops, I'd been to Overeaters Anonymous. We'd been on the Atkins diet, my husband and I. Oh, I might say that Al and I are good friends, but we're not married to each other. But I just didn't know what else to do, because I was a good dieter. I could go on a diet, I could be really good at it, but maintaining the weight loss after you start eating back foods that you gave up to get that weight didn't work. So I thought, I'm going to dive in. So I dove into his whole food plant-based diet, which was a little bit more severe than some of the other programs, because he also eliminated some healthy but high fat foods in order to achieve your goal more easily. I drove in, we went to China that fall, and already just between July and September, I felt skinny, even though I look at my pictures now and I wasn't. But the first year I lost 80 pounds, and the second year I lost 25, and the next year I lost 25, and I have maintained that 130-pound weight loss all of this time. I'm still at the 127.
Amazing.
And I got rid of diverticulitis, I got rid of GERD, I got rid of constipation, I got rid of high blood pressure, I got rid of constipation, I got rid of my knee pain. And then the best thing happened after I went back to my regular doctor said, I told him how I was changing my eating. And he said, if I told people to eat like that, they would say that's not real food. And I thought, well, he is not the doctor for me. Yeah. And then he also said that when I said, well, all you have to do, he said, there's no health food stores in this area. And I said, you don't need health food stores. All you need to go is to the produce department of any store. So anyway, I switched doctors, but it was so wonderful because I had been on lithium for 30 years. I was on levothyroxine for 30 years. I was on pain medicine and sleep medicine. I had sleep apnea. And I also had an eye condition called a macro, what was it called? Macro exfoliation.
Okay.
And also I had cataracts, and I had another one. What was it called, Ben? Anyway, exfoliation. And anyway, my eyes were not doing well. And so the doctor said it was now to the point where I could have my surgery. And I said, well, I've just started eating a plant-based diet, and if it helps everything else, it might help my eyes too. So do I have to have surgery now? And he said, no, come back and see me in 6 months. So in 6 months, I came back. He said, your eyesight's improved. Come back in 6 months. I came back 6 months later. He said, your eyesight's improved. Come back in 6 months. So I came back, and finally in December of 2018, I said, you know, I haven't been wearing my glasses lately. You know, should I be wearing them to protect my eyes? And I'll never forget his words. He said, with your eyesight, you don't need glasses.
Wow.
I mean, and here I am, old. And I had been on my driver's license. They had a special category for me, said that I had restricted driving. I had to wear glasses to drive. And I went back to our Department of Motor Vehicles. They took that off.
Wow.
So I no longer have to wear glasses, and it's wonderful. I mean, and I didn't even have my cataract removed.
Wow.
So, and I didn't have to have my knee surgery, you know. So for me, my whole life has just changed, you know, and it's so wonderful to get to that retirement age and realize a whole new world has opened up to me.
That's
You know,
great.
so now all I want to do is help other people. So I'm thankful that I have this opportunity to meet you and talk with your people.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. So you got rid of your medication, you got a better eyesight, you lost weight. I'm going to share my screen because I have the picture of you and your husband before and after, and then I have a question regarding your husband, right?
Okay.
So let me see to share my screen. Okay, let's see. That's the first step. And then if I hide this for a while. Okay. So
Yeah, that's good pictures.
right? It's really
Yes.
it's really crazy to see the difference. I'm always impressed because, you know, like you see the evolution, but you never really get the chance to see one picture inside beside one another. And I found it great. So that was you at the start of your, or before the start of your journey, right? On the left with your husband.
Yes.
And then when was this picture taken? Do you remember?
The second picture?
Yep.
Oh, just a couple of months ago.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to come back to the normal view and wait, so I can see the chat. Okay. So as I understood, tell me if I'm wrong, Esther, but as I understood, your husband was not with you in the boat from the start, right?
Yes, that's right. Do you want Ben to come over and say something?
Sorry?
You want Ben to join us?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, at first, when I switched over, he said, no, he said, I could never eat like you. And I said, okay, it's okay. I'll just cook my food and you cook yours. So this is my husband, Ben.
Hi,
How you doing?
Ben. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You do.
I'm good. Really happy to see you. I was asking Esther how it was for you when she decided to change, because it's a big
I don't
step.
have as exciting story as these two before me, but when Esther said she was going to do this diet, and I've been on a lot of diets with her because you could see I was overweight too. I said, not this time for me, Esther. It's just too radical.
Right.
But anyway, after she was doing it, and for about 6 months,
into it, I thought, no, she's getting good results. And the other thing is, you know, I think I could try it. So I'm very practical. So I said to Esther, I said, when all the meat in the freezer is gone, I won't buy any more meat. And when you know the butter and milk and stuff is gone after the holidays, no more dairy. And so I decided to go with her. And the other thing is, there was a lot of information coming in. She really, you know, informed herself and took care of herself. And the thing is I overheard a lot of that, and it made sense. I mean, for me, it makes sense. It's good for your health. It's good for the planet, and it's good for the animals. So I don't see anything that's a detriment to anything. It's all positive. So anyway, I started eating similar to her. I still don't eat as strict as she is. She eats very, very simple. I still try to make the food taste more like what I used to eat, but I don't use any meat, dairy, or oil. Okay. That's my key. Yeah. And I didn't even really go on a diet. I wouldn't call it a diet. I just changed my lifestyle. Right. I don't like to call it a diet. And when I changed my lifestyle, I would say I started losing weight and I couldn't believe it. And within about 6 or 7 or 8 months, I went from like 230 to 160. And I still hang right around 160 all the time now. Wow. And it's just, and I'm 6 foot tall, and, you know, and I feel great. And I explain it. I'm not quite the evangelist that Al and Esther are, but if people ask me a question about the diet, or I don't call it diet, lifestyle, then I'm willing to help them, because I just think it's the best way for the planet and everything else. So that's my story.
Thank you, Ben. So are you craving for something you used to love to eat before?
I want to say one other thing about meat. I actually never have been crazy about meat by itself. But I kind of noticed that if I had a steak, I'd want steak sauce. Or if I had fish, I'd always want tartar sauce or cocktail sauce. And the same thing with chicken, I'd want something on it. It was never like, hey, I'll just have a piece of meat to eat. Right. It had to have the condiments with it. And I come to the conclusion that I was eating the condiments, you know, and when I would buy a hamburger at a place, I'd never get one of the big meat ones. I'd always get the smallest meat I could, because I liked all the stuff that went on the hamburger, you know, but I didn't think about that when I was, you know, eating the carnivore way, you know. So I don't have any really cravings for food. I think the other thing is, after you do this for about 60 days, you start craving the food that you're eating now instead of the food you used to eat. I mean, I look forward to, I'm kind of a creature of habit. Like for breakfast, I have the same thing every day, and I look forward to it. You know what I mean? And it's what it is it's oat groats, banana, and blueberries. Yeah, and I look forward to that. Yeah. You know, so, you know, and same thing with lunch. And my only complaint about it is we eat out an awful lot lately, because Esther's so busy with people. She wants to go to all the meetups and stuff, and I'd rather eat at home. Right. You know?
Okay, thank you, Ben. I'll switch back to Esther and Al if he wants to come back. Thank you very much for sharing. It was very important for me, because lots of my women patients say that it's very difficult to cook at home because their husband try to convince them to eat further meat or sweets, and that they will never give up the food. So I was really interested to see how it was on your side. So you basically make your weight half, right, Esther? I counted in kilogram, because here in Europe we don't have pounds, we have kilograms, and it was from 257 pounds, you said, to 127. So it was like from 16 kilograms to 57 kilograms, which is just amazing.
Yes.
And what was the, I'm switching back to Al first, and then I'm coming back to you. So you said you read all the books, right, Al? And I know all the books because I read them all as well. And McDougall, Start Solution, and everything. I like have my bookshelves full of Esselstyn and McDougall and Gregor and Neil Barnard as well.
Yes.
So you started all only with the books, right? What was the most difficult thing to change for you?
Nothing. It wasn't hard to change. It was hard. Okay, I was faced with a choice, life or death. And so I made the decision that I wanted life. So everything I put in my mouth was going to help me live. I ate to nourish my body, not to entertain it. So I said, all right, then I had a hard time finding food that was healthy because I had no knowledge of this. Esther and I make it our life's goal now to help people so that no one has to go through what I had to go through. And I don't know how hard it was for you, but both of it, the reason that she is my soulmate, the reason that we get along so well is I have this philosophy, if anything worth doing is worth doing to wretched excess. And you have this thing that you took the book and how do you call it?
Well, I just jumped in, I dived in because I wanted, because I was following Dr. McDougall's book. I knew that I was going to treat it like an experiment and I would be my own guinea pig. And if I didn't follow his book to the letter, then I couldn't attest to whether it worked or not.
She's just taken a long way to say she had basically the same attitude that I had. You either do it or you don't do it. So if you make the decision that you're going to do it, then every other decision from that just follows. Am I going to eat this healthy piece of broccoli, or am I going to eat chicken smothered in yak fat? Well, you know which one's the healthier, so you always choose the healthiest one. So I made the decision. I didn't have a problem with that. But what I had a problem with was finding people that A, understood what I was going through, and B, would support me. People would make fun of you. Oh, you're going on that crazy vegan diet. Oh, you're a kook. Or you're eating kook food. I'd rather eat the boxes the food came in than what you're eating, and just on and on. So I quickly found the difficult part was surrounding yourself with people that have the same values and goals that you do. There's a local guy whose classes I went to. I tried to absorb as much information as I possibly could from everybody. And he said that if you look at your 5 closest friends, you will all share the same goals, the same values, the same ideals, the same interests. And he was right. And I thought, I have to get all new friends, which I did. Esther had a party, which I crashed because I heard that she was the kind of person that I wanted to be around, whole food, plant-based, and she was serious about it. There are a lot of, I'm going to offend some people now, but that's what I do. There's a lot of pretenders out there. Oh, I want to save the environment, but I'm going to eat the French fries and Oreo cookies. Oh, those are terrible for you. So to answer your question, that was the hardest part, was finding other people that would support me. And Esther and I have sort of dedicated our lives to helping people that we will support them.
Yeah.
And you contacted me, and I'll do whatever I can to support you. And I forgot my sign. If you could somehow let them know what my website is.
Yeah, I will.
If you let people, my email address is on there. If you send me email, I will do whatever I can. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on television, but I can point. I know where to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I will write it in the Facebook group, your internet address and your email address, of course. And yeah, what you said, I found it also very interesting for me because, you know, like I told you a little bit of my history, but Esther, I don't know if Al told you a little bit of my history. I have a very heavy history of heart disease in my family. My dad passed away of a heart attack with 72, and he was heart sick since he was 45. And his mother, his brother as well, his uncle, and I started to have like heart palpitation and cold sweat with 40. So I was starting to get really anxious about that. And I didn't want to go on medication. So it took me a while to find Dr. McDougall and all the other Hesselstein and Barnard and Greger, because in Germany, we don't know anything about it. It's like, you know, like lots of people in America tell me, well, you know, lots of people don't know anything about it as well, but in Germany it's like an absolutely new word. Nobody knows.
You guys are better than we are.
No, not for everything. No, you know,
no. I'm talking about there's more probably vegan restaurants per square mile in Germany. You don't think so?
No,
Okay.
Absolutely not. No, really not.
Right.
It's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it's also really difficult when you tell people or friends that you're vegan. And I don't like this word. I don't like this word because vegan is, as you said, Oreo cookies and fake cheese and fake jam and fake everything.
French fries, fried potatoes.
So the feeling of belonging is really, really important to find people who do the same. What was for you, Esther, when you go, well, not now, because now you're surrounded with people who have the same interests, but the first couple of times when you wanted to go out for dinner or when you were invited by friends, because now you have like, I guess, all different possibilities to tell, oh, you know, I'm going to bring something with me, but the first time you got invited and you were on your transition, changing the way you eat, how did you bring it to your friends?
The first obstacle we had was we were going to China and traveling the world. And so what we learned is that we could tell the airlines that we were vegan. We could tell the tour director that we were vegan. And they did a good job in making sure that we had food available, you know. And you still had to be careful because sometimes there would be too much oil and so forth. But we did the best we can. We've been all over since this. We've been on many cruises. And in fact, we just got back from Antarctica and South America. And we've been to Germany and Berlin, but that was a little bit earlier. But I think the hardest thing for me is I was a food addict, and I was really addicted to sugar and to fat. And if they were together, it was dynamite. So as we mentioned earlier, Ben didn't think he could do this, but I said, I need some help, because if we were going to have all that food in the house, it would be difficult. So I said, can you not bring any sweets into the house? Can you help me that much? And he said, yes. So he kept all the sweets out of the house, and that really helped, you know. And then because my motivation was so strong, and because I wanted to prove whether Dr. McDougall was right or not, I really was highly motivated that way. And we did have Thanksgiving dinner here at the house, and we would have Easter, and I would just make food for the family and then take my food out before I would add what they were used to eating. And so then pretty soon we just really stopped having family dinners here because I didn't want to cook a turkey or a ham and have all of that in the house. As Chef AJ says, if it's in your house, it will be in your mouth.
Yeah.
So a clean environment is critical. It's really critical to not have it there, because then you can eat anytime. I say I can eat when I want, why I want, and how much I want. It's just what I eat that I watch. So I keep beans and rice and potatoes and fresh fruit and vegetables in my house, so I can eat as much as I want. And I eat a lot. In fact, I do out eat Ben because my food's not processed, and so I can eat a lot of it. So I love that. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah. And you brought it to the point because you said you were a food addict, and I guess everybody basically is food addict, and it's what makes the thing difficult to switch, because I know you said you tried many different diets, and I tried every diet as well. So I can talk about it as well because I know how we feel. And I know also the feeling of, oh, I failed again. No, I'm not, all the other one achieve it and can hold and have the mentality to stay on track, which is not true over many years, but I had the feeling I would just fail all the time. And what you said at the end, and I guess it's the same for you, Al, is that with this way of eating whole food, plant-based diet, is that really, it's like an advertisement on TV for a diet, which is not a diet because it's a lifestyle, right? It's that you can eat as much as you want, as long as you give your body what it needs. And you lose weight without even trying to lose weight because it's not the goal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really good. So one thing more, Al, Esther, you said your husband came on board after a while. No, it was a couple of months or something like that. Al, how was it for you?
Oh, that was interesting. As usual, I did everything wrong. My wife says, oh, yes, I'll support you. She means that she would cook for me, but she wasn't going to change anything. So, and still to this day, in my house, there's just crap. There's just really a lot of bad food because her friends are all carnivores. Her friends all eat horribly. So there's a whole closet full of bad crackers and things that...
Yes, but she doesn't have any meat or cheese.
No. Okay, so what happened was that she... Then because, you know, marriages are all different and different things happen, that she thought I was trying to tell her what to eat and what to do. And of course I was, because I knew this was healthy. And this is not our first rodeo, both of us. This is not our first marriage. So she had been married to a couple of people before me, as I had with her, but who were sort of controlling. They wanted to tell her what to do. And she was very careful not to let me tell, which is fine. I have no desire to tell her what to do. So, but I wanted to eat healthy, and I knew that if she didn't have any skin in the game, she wasn't going to be as motivated to look for and find healthy, tasty food. I'm like Ben. Ben and I like to eat healthy and tasty. Esther, because of her issues, isn't so much concerned about the tastiness. So that was a bit of a...
Boy, I have to interrupt that.
Please.
My food tastes wonderful to me.
Yeah, that's what is important.
That's what's important. That's right. And so so we were having a bit of a will contest here. And so finally, I think I was on Chef AJ's show or somebody's show, and we were having this discussion of this subject. And I said, you know, it's easier to find a new wife than it is to find a new life. And I think that I think I got word back to her. Well, actually, I think I told her right to her face. And so she sort of figured out that I wasn't going to change my attitude, and she wasn't particularly happy in the marriage, and I wasn't going to do anything to make her happy. So she came around. Now that browbeating and nasty and all, but I did it, and I'm not necessarily proud of it, but I wanted to live. And
well, you have to say too that Dottie did come around.
Oh yes,
and that she had previously had cancer and also had had a stroke, and she has no cancer in her body now.
Yeah, her story is absolutely, to my mind, it's absolutely as impressive as mine is, or Esther's or Ben's, but she doesn't quite seek the limelight. She's not the big ham that I am.
No.
So, and so that's all right. She can, and I've asked her several times. I asked her to be on with you or something, but she doesn't want to be. She knows AJ. She's friends with AJ, and you know, she just AJ says, "Come be on the show." No, she doesn't want to do it. So that's all right. We have other friends, Ruby and Dawn. They don't want to. They don't want to. They don't like. They're not comfortable doing what we're doing, and that's all right.
Yeah, I asked some of my patients I am treating offline if they wanted to come online with me for an interview.
Yeah.
And, they also said no.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's not for everybody.
it's okay. Yeah. But I think it's, I'm just gonna like sum up because I think amazing. Because I opened the Facebook group I have now specifically on treating high blood pressure and heart disease, because, you know, like you have to try to start somewhere. And because my dad passed away and lots of my family members because of this history, but also my mom passed away because of breast cancer.
Yes.
Another like big history of cancer in my family. So I heard that your wife had cancer, and
she had stage 4 lung cancer. It started out in 2015, and I've already talked to her. She has no problem with me telling her story, but she just didn't want to do it. In 2015, they found 2 lumps on her liver, and they took out 2/3 of her liver. And we were just talking about this last night, and the surgeon said that it grows back in 3 weeks. That just, I go, holy cow! But anyway, it grew back, and well, in 15 also she had a stroke. I mean, it was not a good year for her. So she had a brainstem stroke. She literally couldn't sit up. She went to rehab, and she rehabilitated herself. If you met her, you couldn't tell that she'd had a stroke. She had the cancer, and they took that out, and that was in 15. In 18, they discovered that so every 6 months they'd go in and give her a full body scan. And in 18, they found out that it had migrated to her lungs. So that makes it stage 4, as I understand it. Right. And so at this point, she thought that perhaps my diet might help her, you know, and so she did. And of course, obviously, I encouraged the devil out of her. Yeah. And she's a wonderful cook. She is a superb cook. And so my life increased dramatically. And now she's always loved to cook, and she would watch cooking shows at all. And so now I've got her watching the whole food plant-based shows that on the TV that that are whole food plant-based. So yes, did that answer your question? I tend to go on. I'm sorry.
So absolutely, yeah, so perfectly all right. So yeah, the point I wanted to bring is that it's not only a way of eating to reverse heart disease, right? It's, you said, Esther, you had thyroid medication and you had high blood pressure. Did you have sugar as well, diabetes, or?
And I had sleep apnea,
Oh, yeah.
constipation, GERD, diverticulitis. The list goes on and on.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I want people to understand. It's like, first, it's not a diet, it's like a real lifestyle, and then you thrive on what you eat, right? It's like all delicious food.
Yeah.
And did you notice something about your mood?
Oh yes. I don't think I mentioned that either. Or maybe I did. I was on lithium for 30 years for a mood disorder.
Right.
And now it's just wonderful. I mean, I feel so energized and so happy, and I don't have mood, not that I really had that many mood swings, but it just feels, it's kind of a spiritual evolution that, you know, you just kind of raise your mind to a different place, and it feels so exciting to have a purpose and to love yourself again. Because when as a food addict, and like you mentioned earlier, you know, failing on so many diets, it's like my self-esteem was not good. I mean, I was a happy person, but I kept thinking, I don't have the answer. Why don't I know? I know how to diet, but why isn't it working? And then when I got the tools from Dr. McDougall, then I don't have to worry the rest of my life. And the peace I have and the assurance that I know how to live now, it's just wonderful psychologically to be successful and to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's self-rewarding.
Yes,
it really is. You feel so good. People say, well, don't you miss whatever it is? No, you don't miss feeling bad. Why would you quit eating this way? You get tired. Both of us have tremendous amount of energy all day, and why would we not want to have that?
I would never want to go back. There's nothing out there that draws me anymore. I just want to be the best health I can be. I want to give my body the best nutrients, and it's just a whole new life. I mean, and who would have guessed? So I tell people, I have a group on Facebook too, if anybody's interested, but and I post a word of encouragement every day for my people, and I post pictures of everything I eat so they can see it can be very simple and very easy. Yeah. So that's what I do with my life now, is I just want to show the way.
Yeah. And if you had to give one tip about, okay, you wake up tomorrow morning, and what is the first change, or how would you first organize your kitchen so you get started?
I would say dump the meat, dump the dairy, dump the oil, dump anything that's processed and has oil in it, because the oil is such an important part of this, and it doesn't matter if it's extra virgin or not. Any oil is too high in calories. It's 4,000 calories a pound compared to 100 calories a pound for your vegetables. And so as long as I keep my eating under 600 calories a pound, that includes fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans, I will never gain my weight back again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
As AJ says, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. Yeah, that's so true.
Absolutely.
And there's no need to tempt yourself.
Yeah.
You know, once you get some years under yourself, then it becomes a new habit. But at first, there's no need to put yourself in any environment where you're going to want what you used to. It's like an alcoholic. You know, you want what you used to have, because we're so used to self-medicating our emotions with food or with drink. And when you get to the point where you're well, then there's no reason to go back
and
again.
As Dr. Lyle says, that we were designed to eat the most caloric dense food, because you couldn't find in the wild, you couldn't find salt. Now you can't find something without salt.
Yeah.
And so we needed, when we were hunter-gatherers, we need to find the berries that nourished us the most. Now, you go to the supermarket and that's all there is food. So we were not designed to have an excess of food. Our bodies weren't.
Yeah.
So it's inbred in us to want the foods that are not good for us now.
Right, but we're also always attracted to the most calorie-dense food in our environment.
Yes.
So if you limit your environment, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just thinking of ways to fool our body to think we're back in prehistoric times.
It's like when I sit down to my meal, guess what I want to eat first? My potato.
Yes.
You know, and that's fine. But it just shows how you still get attracted to the most calorie dense.
Right. So you wrote a book, right? From donuts to potato.
Yes.
I saw that. And because potato has been like the devil, you know, like people are afraid of eating potatoes. And every time I tell, well, you know, like if you're craving something, just boil potato at the beginning of the week and you just grab a potato and eat a potato like your Snicker bar. And some patients do that, and other day, well, my doctor said potato is like no go. And I mean, you're thriving, right? And you have no diabetes because you eat potatoes. And I guess you eat lots of potatoes.
Oh, yes. Sometimes 6 a day.
Yeah, because it's delicious, right?
The story behind that is I met my husband in his donut shop. And so that's where the title of the book came from. We switched from eating donuts to eating potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
It's not available in German, but if any of your readers can find it on Amazon.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I founded this Facebook group because I wanted to offer help for people who want to get off medication and lose weight and feel better and be alive again, because, you know, like in Germany, the average living expectation is for women something like 79, but the last 10 years is sick. Like, you know, like you get to 69, maybe if you're lucky, and then, okay, you live until 79, but you have diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, thyroid problems, and one medication after the other. And it's like the normal stuff here in Europe.
Yes.
You know, so it was for me super important to have you live today to show how just young looking you are and so fresh and fit are also in your head. Because what I noticed, you know, I'm really young soul in comparison to you. I'm 45. But what I noticed is also my brain and my capacity to think is much better since I'm eating.
Oh, yes.
So you are like rejuvenate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's great, because usually the image we have of people who are 80 and above is not like you. So thank you very much. And so what would you say to because I have like 560 people in my group at the moment, so it's going up and filling. And lots of people are wondering if they can do it on their own. That's why I opened this Facebook group, and I am also suggesting people that I can coach them over 3 months to like help them on their way, because you know how difficult it is to make it on your own. So what would you tell them if you had like one suggestion to finish this interview tonight? Esther first, and then Al.
Well, I think you have to identify what you want in life and what do you want more. And you can't serve two masters. So if you want health and you want to take responsibility for it, you are the only one that determines what you put on the end of your fork. And it's up to you. You may not have family that will be supportive, but if your want is big enough, you will succeed.
All right. Thank you. That's beautiful. What about you, Al?
Okay. Similar, basically the same advice. I'm just going to frame it in a different way. make the decision to do it. And not just wish you're going to do it. You make, if you try to do it, I tell people, you try, you're going to die.
Exactly.
You make the decision, you're going to do it, and then you educate yourself on what you need to do it. That's essential. And the third essential, three things. The third essential is surround yourself with people like Esther and I, and you can do that online. Surround yourself with people that agree with you and have the same goals. And that will increase the probability of you being successful many, many fold.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help, even if you've done this many times before. You know, and if any of your people in Germany want to join my group too here, it's free.
Yeah.
And I just offer support every day and answer questions. So get help, you know, because it's an emotionally big decision to make when food, especially for an addict, when food has been your antidote to stress.
Right.
And I will answer any emails that my email address is on the website. And on that website, I have pages for resources, and there's books to read, websites to go to, websites to go to get recipes to help you cook. And so I've tried to make it as helpful as I possibly can.
That's great.
And I will answer any questions.
Great.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this beautiful hour we just spent together, and for your lunchtime you spent with me.
It was enjoyable. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you. Thank you so much. So I will send you the link for the recorded interview per email. And
are you going to get the actual recording itself in a file, a MP3 file or a movie file?
Yeah,
Because that's what I want. I would like to be able to put it, not the link. I'd like to be able to put the actual.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will send you the whole video file with WeTransfer. It's well, I'm gonna you're gonna be able to download it.
And I'll make sure Esther gets a copy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Are you a doctor?
I am a nutritionist and a naturopath in Germany.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good.
Absolutely. So
Well, that's wonderful. You're doing such good work
Yeah,
there.
keep it up.
yeah.
And anything else you need, I'm sure I'll help you, and I'm sure Esther will too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll definitely come back to you. And
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, Al and Esther, and thank you for Ben also for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so bye. Thank you. Have a nice day.
That happened. I don't know what.